Hey everybody, Shaun McCloskey here from Short Sale Wealth. I got a good story to share with you today. I had my coaching meeting here. I have a local coaching meeting where I have just a handful of students that I take in under my wing here in St. Louis where I live. And we do deal splits together, we work on deals together, and we get together physically twice per month in my conference room here at my office. And we go over deals and challenges, and we share success stories and all kinds of stuff. So we like to start the meeting out with some success stories, and there was a couple of them this morning. One guy just got done closing a $30,000 deal about a week or two ago, and he's just closed on another one, I think in the last day, that he's going to make another $30,000 on. He had to buy it first and sell it. But I love hearing stories like that. But there was another story that caught my attention because I used to teach this approach and I've forgotten to teach it for a while. So I wanted to share it with all of you real quick right now. And this approach is definitely related to short sales. But there's a guy in our group named Jason, and Jason said that in his office they just tried to do a short sale with a client they were working with. It did not work out. And let me share with you some of the numbers. He said that this was a house. There was about $300,000 owed on the property. He said that he was attempting to buy it for $200,000, and his goal was to sell it for $240,000. So when he started negotiating for $200,000, he put in his offer, everything. He just so happened to come across somebody who wanted to buy it from him. I don't even think with any marketing, wanted to buy it from him for $240,000. And lo and behold, the bank would not accept his $200,000 offer, so he really wasn't making any leeway there. At some point, he decided, okay, I'm just going to step out of the middle of this. He said, I would rather just see the seller sell this for $240,000 and stop the foreclosure rather than me trying to make a profit if that's all it's going to take and the bank won't accept anything less. So he stepped out of the way, submitted the new contract to the bank at $240,000, and the bank still denied that one. They said, we will not accept anything less than the payoff, which was $300,000. Stay with me here for a second. He said that normally under these circumstances he would have just given up. He tried everything he could try to negotiate. He couldn't get the number that he wanted to get, so he would have just walked away, but not on this particular deal. He said he had an idea, and this idea is something I used to teach. I've sort of gotten away from teaching it, but he reminded me of how effective this is. He said, I had an idea. I decided to check with the foreclosing attorney. There was a foreclosure sale coming up just a few days away before he got his denial. He said, I decided to check with a foreclosing attorney and see what the opening bid was at the foreclosure sale for this same property. He said, I know the property inside and out. I might as well at least see if I can go down to the auction house and see if I can buy it there. So he's got a private lender lined up that he can get access to cash quickly. So he thought, what's it going to hurt? I'm going to call and find out what the opening bid is. He calls the foreclosing attorney, finds out what the opening bid is. Do you know that the opening bid on this property at the courthouse steps was going to be $140,000? Now, this makes no sense. Why would the bank open up bidding at $140,000 when Jason was just offering $240,000 for the property? Well, it doesn't make any physical sense, but the reality is that Jason, when he's doing a short sale, he's dealing with the loss mitigation department. And anytime a property goes from a pre-foreclosure to the auction to a foreclosure, it transfers over from the loss mitigation department into what's called the asset management department. Two totally different departments. You'd like to think the left hand and right hand talked to each other and knew what they were doing, but that's not always the case, and it wasn't the case in this particular property. So Jason showed up to the auction the next day, and he brought his deposit. Now, in Missouri, where we live here, in order to make a bid on a foreclosure property that's going up for sale at the auction, you have to bring 10% of whatever you're going to bid with you in the amount of a cashier's check in order to bid. They won't let you bid if you don't bring any money. And then within 24 hours, you have to pay cash for the rest. But Jason's thought was, well, can you imagine if I bring $14,000 as my deposit, my 10% deposit, and could I come up with the rest of it within 24 hours through my private lender? And of course the answer was yes. He said, imagine if I get this thing for $140,000 and I've got a buyer lined up to buy it from me for $240,000. Would that be a pretty good deal? I think the answer is yes. Well, that's exactly what he did. He showed up to the courthouse steps, and lo and behold, he shows up. He says, I'm looking around and no one's here. And sure enough, right at the auction time, somebody shows up, and it's the guy who auctions off the house. It's only Jason and the guy who auctions off the house. They start the bidding at $140,000. Jason politely raises his hand. I'll take it for that. And the guy says, anybody else? 145. Anybody else? Any higher than 145? And of course, no one else is there. Sold to my buddy Jason for $140,000. So he just bought this thing for $140,000 and is selling it now for $240,000. That's a $100,000 profit, all by implementing one simple strategy, and that is not giving up. Now, there's a downside and an upside to this. The downside is that he was not able to do the short sale with the bank, which means that unfortunately he wasn't able to help the homeowner stop a foreclosure sale from being on their credit. But it was through no fault of his own. I mean, he tried everything he could possibly try to make this work, and it just still didn't work. So he might as well at least take advantage and take it to the next step and find out what this foreclosure sale is going to start out at. Because if they start out cheap, like in this case, sure, he could show up, bid on the property, get a super sweet deal, and turn around and make $100,000 in profit very, very quickly, very, very easily. He already knew the house inside and out, so it was a no-brainer. So congratulations, Jason, on your deal. I want to encourage any of you that are out there doing short sales, when you get denied for a short sale, which we're going to get denied from time to time. Not every single offer that we make is going to turn into a deal. But you throw enough spaghetti up against the wall, and some of them are going to turn against deals. But that being said, if you do get a no from the bank, and it's their final no, and they're not willing to budge on their price, and they're going to take the house to foreclosure, don't just stop. Call the foreclosing attorney, find out what the opening and bid is going to be, and see if you can go to the courthouse and pick up a deal, maybe on the other side. Okay, so that's my tip for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I hope this got you a little bit inspired to get out there and try this, and let me know your progress. If you end up closing a deal like this, please let me know. Real quick before we go, I'll share one more story. The reason I started teaching this years ago is because a friend of mine did this. I was at one of our local RIA meetings, and a friend of mine was telling me how he had a bid on a property with a short sale. I think he was going to pay something like $600,000 for this property. It was $1 million house. He had it lined up to sell for something like $650,000, and the bank just was adamant they would not take $600,000 for the house. Well, this is a guy who normally buys houses. He doesn't even normally do short sales. His primary strategy is normally to buy houses at the courthouse steps. So he did his research, found out that the foreclosing attorney's opening bid on this property was somewhere around $300,000. I don't remember the numbers exactly. This is going back in a few years now, but this guy ended up buying the house for somewhere around $300,000, maybe $325,000 at the foreclosure sale, and sold it for $650,000 within 30 days. He made $300,000 with no fix-up, no repairs, no nothing. $300,000, all because the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing at the bank. The bank screwed up. It's amazing to me that this is so simple, but it happens. So it's not going to happen every single transaction, but it does happen. So check what those opening bids are. Get out there and start making bids. We'll see you soon.